India's former Prime Minister Manmohan Singh has died in New Delhi at the age of 92. Now, Dr. Manmohan Singh had served 2 consecutive terms as the Prime Minister of India from the year 2004 until 2014. So as we reflect on his legacy, let's take a look at Dr. Manmohan Singh's journey from a modest village to the corridors of power. Take a look.
Born in 1932 in pre-partition Punjab, Dr. Manmohan Singh's journey from a small village to the highest corridors of power epitomized both academic excellence and public service. Dr. Singh's academic brilliance took him to the University of Cambridge, where he got a first-class honours degree in economics in 1957. He furthered his studies at Nuffield College, Oxford, where he was awarded an MPhil in economics in 1962. His early career included teaching roles at the Punjab University and the Delhi School of Economics, establishing him as a leading intellectual voice in academics. In 1971, Dr. Singh joined the Government of India as the Economic Advisor with the Commerce Ministry. In 1972, he was moved up to the role of Chief Economic Advisor in the Finance Ministry. Over the years, Dr. Singh held high-profile positions, including Governor of the Reserve Bank of India and Advisor to the Prime Minister. His defining moment came in 1991, when India faced a crippling economic crisis. Prime Minister P.V. Narasimha Rao appointed Dr. Manmohan Singh as the Finance Minister to spearhead sweeping economic reforms. The bold reforms liberalized India's economy, laying the foundation for its rapid growth in the years that followed. In 2004, when the United Progressive Alliance came to power, Congress President Sonia Gandhi entrusted Dr. Singh with the Prime Ministership. It was a unique moment in India's political history, giving the country its first and only Sikh Prime Minister. An economist, a former RBI governor, was now given the responsibility to lead the nation. Dr. Singh's first stint as Prime Minister saw the implementation of transformative initiatives like the National Rural Health Mission, Rural Employment Guarantee Act, Right to Information Act, and the establishment of the Unique Identification Authority. These were all landmark reforms, all aimed to help the most needy and bring about greater transparency and efficiency in governance. The soft-spoken Prime Minister took another bold step to secure a historic civil nuclear agreement with the United States in 2008. The move shocked the communist parties, who pulled out support from the Manmohan Singh-led government. Singh remained firm, asserting that the deal was to safeguard the nation's interest. The people of India re-elected him in 2009. Dr. Singh's second term was marked by robust economic growth and a continued focus on social welfare. While his tenure faced criticism for perceived inaction on corruption scandals, his legacy as a reformer and a principled leader remains intact. Dr. Manmohan Singh's story encompasses intellect, humility, and unwavering commitment to India's progress.
I honestly believe that history will be kinder to me than the contemporary media or for that matter the opposition parties in parliament.
His contributions to India's economic and political landscape left an indelible impression on the nation's history, making him a figure of enduring respect.
And also joining us on this broadcast is Mr. Sandeep Ghosh, who's an author and a political commentator and is joining us live on this broadcast. Mr. Ghosh, as we look back at the legacy of the former Indian Prime Minister, Dr. Manmohan Singh, he was in many ways the architect of the policy of liberalization that was ushered into the Indian economy in 1991. How different do you think the Indian economy would have been if Manmohan Singh had not been at the helm of affairs at that very crucial juncture?
To be honest, I have a little bit of difference or reservation with the term architect. I wouldn't call him the architect, but India took those reform measures under kind of a duress, under a lot of pressure from international agencies like IMF. But he certainly oversaw the rollout and implementation of that. And that's why I consider Dr. Manmohan Singh one of our finest technocrats. So if you were to call as a finance minister and later as a prime minister, I would say he is India's first and perhaps the only technocrat prime minister. That is his strength. He was not a politician in that conventional sense of the word. He was not a mass leader. Some people compare him to being a CEO. I don't think I can call him a CEO because that requires certain different things. But he was a technocrat par excellence. And that is his strength, and there is no taking away from his contribution. That doesn't mean that I'm trying to undermine his contribution or his legacy. But those are his strengths, and that is what we must look at him for. While his tenure as finance minister had a lot of economic reforms, I must be honest to confess that I'm disappointed at the lack of reforms, economic reforms, during his tenure as prime minister.
Right. So, and also talking about during the term as the prime minister of India, he was one of those leaders who was crucial in ensuring that India had a right to information. He brought in the direct benefits transfers and linking the Aadhaar card scheme so that the leakages that were happening in the Indian economy effectively ended. He also was the person who was instrumental in signing the nuclear deal with the United States of America that has paved the way for a lot of other developments. So in your assessment, how do you look at the legacy of Dr. Manmohan Singh?
Dr. Manmohan Singh, in the clip you played, he said that history would be kinder to him than present contemporary times, but I think you've been more than kind to say that he plugged the leakages. He certainly conceived the UIA scheme, but he didn't implement Aadhaar. Aadhaar was implemented after his term.
The idea was
and that is where the
came into
leakage
existence by the time it was 2013. You have to give it to him for the idea.
Yeah,
the implementation,
but
of course, is done
don't jump to say that he plugged the leakages. In fact, his tenure is known for what you call very euphemistically perceived corruption. There was a lot more leakages during his term, which could be debatable. So you use the term quote unquote perceived, but that was there. So let's not. He conceived it, but that's where I think the difference between a technocrat and a politician differs, because a politician has the will to carry it forward. That's what Modi was able to do. Perhaps Mr.
This
Singh
is not a comparison. This is not a comparison between Narendra Modi, the Prime Minister, and Manmohan Singh as the Prime Minister. You're looking at the legacy
it's a comparison.
Yeah.
It's a comparison between a politician and a technocrat. That's the distinction I'm making.
Right.
So he's a great technocrat. He conceived ideas, but probably didn't carry them through the conclusion. And that is where one must be realistic in the assessment.
Yep. Now, a lot of people would be looking at, one of the key reform measures that was brought in, that was a right to information. Prior to that, government data, the way the government functioned, that was all kept under the wraps. How crucial do you think was the right to information for the Indian society as such to connect with India's political class?
I think it's definitely a good move to formalize it. Though personally, I don't believe that there was an issue with RTI. India had an issue there, or it has an issue now, in terms of right to information compared to a lot of other societies where there is much more information is much more guarded, despite some countries may have the thing. But those were certainly moves which you just listed, whether it's the right to information, right to education, to some extent the NHRM, what you talked about. Those were there. So there was definitely a kind of a liberal or a socialistic slant to his governance. Those were the priorities. And that's what people sometimes attribute to the NSC, which was National Advisory Council, which was guiding Dr. Manmohan Singh's government there. And so the imprint of those policies were clear during his term.
All right. We'll have to leave there. Thank you very much indeed, Mr. Ghosh, for joining us. For all the latest news, download the WION app and subscribe to our YouTube channel.